Good evening, friends. Today we are doing a quick demo of the Gann Square of 9 tool. So predominantly, I'm going to discuss how you can use it for your swing trading. And my favorite time frame for swing trading is 15 minutes. So, and my favorite index is Nifty. So I'm going to show you how I trade using my Gann Square of 9 on Nifty on the 15-minute time frame, right? So I'm going to add this Gann Square of 9 tool. Now, when you are doing a swing trading, the first and foremost, you have to identify what is the most recent swing high or low. आप कुछ भी ले सकते हैं, but if I look at the current chart, this April 7th low looks like the most important one, right? From a price action standpoint. And hence, I'm going to pick that low. So if I just take the low, the number is 21,743.65. 21,743.65. So I'll go to these indicator settings and you just need to override this price and set the low, which is 21,743.65. Decimal doesn't matter too much for Nifty, but still I'll use it. So as soon as I do that, the indicator will sort of adapt to this time frame, right? But then you have to adjust the angle. So the default angle is 90 degrees. In fact, I changed it to 45 because I was on a day trading setup. So I recommend you should use 90 degrees on the 15-minute time frame, right? And then just, just scale your chart, the price scale and all that, and your setup is ready, right? So if you want, you can increase the number of levels. And what you can do is, since I'm started from low, I want to say that I want to plot only the levels above the low, and I want to extend it to 24 levels, right? Because I need a broader range, right? Nifty showed highly volatile range, so I am just extending. So that way, I am starting at the low and I'm extending the levels upwards. So these are the basic settings you need to keep in mind. And with these settings, we can start to trade. So, so the basic rules of trading is very simple, right? Now think of each of these levels as an effective support or resistance. Now, so logically, when you think about a support, what does it really mean, right? So when you break a resistance, we go long, correct? And when we break a support, we go short, right? So wherever you are starting from, let's say, this is the bottom tail, let's leave it. Let's say we are starting from here, somewhere around here. So you choose at least some starting level. So if you see the price kind of opened at this Gann level, right? So then this becomes my observation level, right? With which I can start to measure the price action, right? Now, before you do that, you should consider that, the price has given a breakout, right, from this level, right? And if you add my trend following indicator, you will know that this is still a long condition, right? So you will preferably not go short here, right? So for short, you will at least wait for at least this level to be broken, and then you can go short, right? So you can either use this as a level to accumulate because, the gap has been filled and you can go long, or you can even accumulate at this level. So kind of use this level as an accumulation zone, right? And, sort of position your trade. So every time it comes and takes the support, you can add, right? And then your stop loss will be, if you have entered at this Gann level, your stop loss is basically one level below it, right? So your effective stop loss, since you're in swing trading, is this one level. This is your risk unit, right? It is around 144 points. Okay. So your stop loss is here, and this is your place of entry. So next day you got a good gap up. So the moment the stock is at that level, you should trail your stop loss to this level, just one level below it, right? And then price, the throughout the day it kept here, so nothing happened. Again, opened up, and this was the level it touched. So you should keep your stop loss just one level below here. Again, nothing happened, you are in the trade, right? And then it kept on rising, 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 and you, with that, every level that it crosses, you also trail your stop loss. For example, on this candle, you trail your stop loss here. On this candle, you trail your stop loss here. Okay. On this candle, not actually here because it did not cross. On this candle, on the opening, you can keep your stop loss here. Ideally, I would keep it here, right? On this candle, I would trail my stop loss here. On this candle, I will trail my stop loss here. On this candle, this is sort of the peak. I would trail my stop loss here, and this is where I should at least partially exit, if not fully. Because see, I have gotten a profit of my entry level was here, right? So I got it. How many Gann levels? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Almost 11 Gann levels, right? So 11 Gann levels, each level being 144 points, right? 144 into 11 Gann levels. So that is 1584 points on Nifty, right? If you multiply that by 75, that's more than 1 lakh just in one trade, right? So your entire month's income is done just in one trade. And similarly, you could have even capitalized on this fall or any swing, right? I mean, for that matter, right? If you go back, anybody, please give me a date, and I will probably start from there and show you how you can use this very simple and effective system to trade, right? So we are discussing the Gann square of 9 because that is the question that somebody asked, and I sort of went deep into answering that question. So now if anybody, if you can tell me, what date and time, I can show you, I can show you. Let's start from the recent peak. Let's say the 4th of February, right? So imagine, this is your observation level, right? So your short condition is price have to break below this, right? So this is a candle that broke your this thing, and then your short got triggered here with a stop loss one level above, right? So as soon as you get your first target, you can book partial profits, or at least on second target, you should definitely book your partial profit. At least 50% should be out at this stage, and your stop loss is here, right? When you get your third target, you have a choice, right? You can either keep trailing or you can exit fully, right? Because 3 targets in a swing trade is good enough. At least, you should, if you're playing with higher lots, try to at least book 70-80% of your lot size here and only trail the remaining, right? Because April was an exceptional month, let me tell you that. I was just calculating the average move you got is almost twice or even like 3-4 times than what you would get in a normal month, right? If you go and backtest, if on a regular month you get 600, 800, 900 points, you got 4 times that in April, right? April was an exceptionally trending month, for whatever reason, and hence if you're a swing trader, you could have made a killing in April, right? Irrespective of what strategy you're following, I think you could have made a killing, right, in April. Anyway, so back to my strategy. The strategy is very simple. Once you have in profit, you simply need to trail, right? And each of these levels acts as your effective trailing stop loss, one level behind current price, right? So that is how you trail. And then let's say, your price kind of touched this level, and this is where your stop loss got triggered, right? Now, when your stop loss got triggered, immediately don't try to change the trade, right? I mean, just see what the price is trying to do, where it is taking the next support and resistance, etc., right? So for example, price went here and here. So that means this level is sort of became a consolidation zone, right? Now you see that, okay, price took a turn from here and then it broke this level below. Still, I would avoid trading in this range, right? So this is sort of, a range bound. In fact, I would say this whole entire thing has now become my observation zone, right? Especially now that I have booked a profit, I want to see whether, a trend is really changing here or not, right? Now, for a long time, price traded in just in between this range, right? So I would not initiate any trade. If any trade I would initiate, I will short at this level and I would probably book some profits here, right? Or I would long here and try to book some profits there, right? So this levels will not give you anything. And then this is where you finally got another breakdown, right? Because all of this consolidation, you broke free of that, right? And if you go and study, probably there would be some important astro date also combining here, which is why you got this gap down move, which never got filled. So whenever you get this runaway gap, right, which never gets filled, that is an indication that market wants to become directional, right? So you could have initiated a trade anytime here, right? If not, suddenly by end of the day, it gave a clear direction that, the market is going to go down. And, you got 1 level, 2 level, 3 levels, right? So minimum 3 levels is your profit target in any trade. when you got your trade, you can exit. And then once it reverses by at least 90-degree, right, from wherever, price reached, then you can consider your long, right? Not just one level. You wait to, basically not 90-degree. This is 90, this is 180-degree. So once price moves at least two Gann levels from where, the low formed, right, the support form, you can again initiate the trade in the reverse direction, basically reverse your trade, right? So if you reverse your trade here, your stop loss is here. And then again, you got your one target, two target you got, but then your stop loss got hit here, right? Again, it formed a zone in this here. So here, when it gets in a zone, you can always accumulate because, you are in an uptrend here, right? So you can use this. If you're already in a trade, you should probably not exit completely here. Even though this is saying that your stop loss is hit, you can keep holding because, it is showing multiple supports here. Now that is why I designed my other indicator, which is, sort of takes care of these emotions for you. And if you combine, for example, this, this catch the trend indicator, right? You will know that this is sort of range bound, right? So this zone kind of became range bound. Even see, there is another trick I teach, right? So when you get a candle, right, that changes the trend direction, or supposedly, right, you should observe, whether it is able to break below this last significant low, right? Because this is not very far away, right? What does the candle do? This was basically a fake out move. So you should mark the high and low. If price continues, maybe, I would have actually gone short below this level, but since it didn't, or even if I went short, I should cover as soon as the price. One candle is my stop loss, not the whole level, right? Because this is often a way to fake out. And this is a zone of confusion, right? Because price is sort of, one is showing up, one another is showing down. So there is no clear direction. So, but since I am long here, I would still hold on to my longs. In fact, I would add more quantity here, right? And if I did that, from the next day, price just ran away. So, I don't keep this thing always on my system, but whenever I have a confusion, right, I would just turn it on and see, should I exit or should I hold on to the trade, right? So, because as long as my trend following system is saying that don't exit, I don't care what the market is doing. Even my Gann system is also not telling me, right? But sometimes when I get into the confusion, I just add that and clear that confusion. Even you can trade only on the Gann system. No other system is required, right? But if you want to double confirmation, you just want to take care of the emotions in your mind. I've designed that other indicator, right? So if you combine that with the Gann square of 9, that is an A-class setup. And if you combine the Gann square of 9, your that and then astrology, that is your 80-90% wala setup, right? And now that I only teach to my advanced students, not to the regular ones, right? So that is part of my advanced courses. If any of you are interested, you can contact me. So see, you would have initiated your trades here, or somewhere in this zone, right? Because this was the zone of consolidation. Again, you got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is where your stop loss would get hit because price went here. And so 8 targets is exceptional, right? In any trade. Usually, 1, 2, 3 is good enough. When you get 8, that is really exceptional, I would say. Sumit ji, samajh mein aaya kuch? See, the only solution to the problem you are stating is that, you should spend time with your charts, right? Just me telling you, you will probably understand 50%, right? When you go and do the back test yourself, you will understand 80%, right? And then when you do the forward test, you will probably understand 95%. And then when you practice in live markets for another 3 months, you will understand 99%. After that, that 1% gap is just about, your patience and mastery and discipline, right? So usually, if you spend good 6 months, right, with your chart on one time frame and one chart, right, for 6 months, just marry yourself to that chart for 6 months and see the results that you will get. You will be mind blown, right? This system is so effectively designed and it works so well on Nifty, right? These 90-degree angles that you will not need anything else for the rest of your life, right? You just have to follow the system. And you have to increase a little bit of your, pattern detection thing, right? I mean, and which is the reason I kind of designed this, other indicator, because sometimes we are confused, right? Kya karna hai? Should I sell or should I hold on, right? So to avoid that confusion and to get that double confirmation, I have designed that, this thing, this one, what I call catch the trend. So it's a culmination of multiple, technical studies and indicators. It also sort of colors the candles for you, right? To indicate, so sometimes, once you are in green, you will transition into an orange phase, right? Or maybe, you can transition from orange, red and all that. You can clearly now visualize, right, that this is the range, right? Once this thing happened, this thing happened, this thing happened, the range has been established, right? And you know that, your low is here. So you have went long somewhere here, right? So ideally, you should not sell off here. You can use these levels to add, right? And that is what, this multiple indicator system will allow you to do to get. And look at the beauty, right? If you had held on to your trade and the pivot formed exactly here, and then the next day it took support of the pivot. Now, once this happened, look at this, the moving average converges, the pivot converges here, and then you got this move. So this kind of confirmed that price is not going to break down, right? Now, I would have went short if the price action would have come all the way down from the pivot and then broken all this consolidation, right? Because, double touch already ho gaya. Third time broken means kuch gadbad hai. I would have, reversed my trade. But since, I got the pivot confirmation, I got multiple seeds, my moving average and pivot kind of converged, price action did not break below. And that is how I could confidently ride the trend. And if I could stay on my trade here, and this is the zone where you need to master your confidence and your discipline, and that you can only do if you backtest. If you stay with your chart for a long time, you will understand that price, once it gives some kind of a move, it will get into a zone of consolidation, and then the next move will come. So all you need to figure out is where is the the support and resistance zone, and does it sort of align with your other things, right? And then you should always buy the support, and like that. If you're in a long, you should always buy at the support. If you're short, you should always use the resistance to add your position, like that, right? So you need to go and backtest. And if you stayed there, you would have made a killing. In April was a month to killing. Now I get the sense that since April was so volatile, right, and we saw such exceptional moves, May might be more of a range bound thing, because I was calculating the pivot levels. You are not going to see it today. It's going to come, on the first day of May, right? Since today was a holiday, it's going to come tomorrow. So the new levels are going to get designed, and according to the pivot, I'm going to trade. See, my simple criteria is as long as price stays above my, so when I am in a 15-minute time frame, this is my weekly pivot. So this pivot will not change for the entire week. So when Monday comes, right, on 5th May, you will get another new pivot that is designed. Okay. So I have anyways squared off my position because, it is a, a long move that has happened, and price can go either ways. And unless I, get a strong direction, right? So for example, if it breaks above this level, then I know that, I have to go long again. I have to continue long. But, let's say the pivot forms on Monday, right? So I will wait till end of Monday, and Tuesday I will initiate my trade based on the level. So if you want to continue, then you can continue from tomorrow also, right? Because, your price action is still saying, see, the candles are still green. Candle will become red once the pivot forms, once all your super trends are broken, and it kind of moves up, forms a ceiling, and then price sort of bounces off and then starts falling again. That is when I will go short. Ideally, I would not go short below this level. Only below this 24,000 I will try to go short, and I will try to go long. See, you can hold on to some longs here also, right? You can keep adding your long positions. Your stop loss should be here. So as long as price comes here and keeps bouncing, you can use this zone. If you want to take some fresh positions, you can use this as your accumulation zone, right? Now, this could be a sign of accumulation, or it could be a sign of distribution. Only the next price action will confirm that, right? My sense is that, if I look at the higher time frame, right? Let me switch to, for example, daily. Now, if you look at the daily chart, it is very interesting, right? So yes. So see, price has been spending a lot of time at this Gann level, right? But it has not been able to breach above this. So my thing, for me, the critical level is this one, this 24,500. Only if I get some kind of, a daily closing, right, above this candle, right, from where there was a rejection. So if I get, a good candle here on the daily, that sort of confirms the trend for me. And it has to happen, in the next 2 days. Otherwise, we know that, it's going to reverse. But, since it is a broad range, I am not comfortable shorting unless this level is take out on a closing basis. I mean, look at this thing. Intraday, it has shown a lot of volatility, but closing kahan pe diya hai? Closing has still been above this level. So I need a closing below this to short. I need a closing above this to go long. If I'm talking of fresh positions, because as
But
per,
daily में सर बट
as
डेली में
per
आई थिंक इट हैज मेड अ डोजी एट द
huh?
टॉप, तो सर ट्रेंड रिवर्सल नहीं होना चाहिए?
See, I don't know, right? That the price action has to tell me. So, obviously, this is preparing for a big move. Now, which way, it depends on the news triggers and all that, because results are not too bad. Okay. And if you look at the higher time frame, it is still very bullish. इसको bearish लग रहा है क्या? See, the pivot is here. This is a monthly pivot. In fact, it will be bearish below this. If you consider April, in the daily time frame, it is not bearish until it breaks below this level. 23,500 तक support है. Monthly में. Monthly में. If you are trading on the daily time frame, then your monthly support is here. So positionally, you cannot go short until this level is taken out. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे support है. All of these are very strong supports, right? The only way I can take the trade is because, see, this is the pivot for April, ना? ये जो May का pivot बनेगा, it will happen tomorrow. So tomorrow when I open my chart, that pivot will be formed. I was calculating it manually. ये pivot बहुत मोटा होने वाला है. If you look at this pivot, this was a very thin pivot, no? And you got a very trending move. Now
यस
ये अगला जो month का pivot बनने वाला है, May का, वो बहुत मोटा होने वाला है. Now when a pivot is very big, thick, right? It means it is going to be range bound. मतलब मई में आपको उतना वोलेटिलिटी देखने को नहीं मिलेगा. इवन इफ इट इज देयर, इट विल बी रेंज बाउंड मूव. मतलब हो सकता है मार्केट इधर आए फिर जाए आए ऐसे कुछ, राइट? So it will move around in a narrow range, maybe 500 to 800 points max, but that's about it. You will not get this kind of a trending move or this kind of a trending move. This was exceptional, right? You could have made money on this swing, and this swing. I mean, you could have made a killing in this three swings if in fact four, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. See, बहुत सारे swings दे चुके हैं already market. And if you miss the opportunity to capture this, then you will probably have to wait, because May, my sense is because of the CPR range is becoming too wide. It will be basically it will be the big boys will want to keep the market in a range, so they will sell at the resistance and sell. Basically, they will sell both the calls, right, on the top and the bottom, and they will try to manage the market in a range, right? That is what my read is at this point. In any way, see, your ceiling is here at this Gann level, right? Because price यहाँ से दो बार reverse कर चुका है already. So even if it goes the upside, unless it's a very strong trigger, right? Either there has to be some very good news flow or anything like that, right? Exceptional results. Reliance have done very well, right? Now, if let's say if you look at all of the Nifty counters, jo top here, right? HDFC banks and other counters, right? ITCs of the world. If all of them do exceptionally well, I mean, then the quarterly earnings season gets over, and in the absence of any other negative triggers, for example, कल अगर पाकिस्तान में कुछ न्यूक्लियर अटैक कर दिया या कुछ कर दिया, right? That is a different story. But so it will be event based, I think, more or less, right? But we don't need to worry. We have our Gann system and we have our technical indicators. We need to simply stay with our trade, right? Obviously, daily you are not going to trade, but daily you can get a confirmation, because I was just looking at this, this evening, and I was surprised to see, through this entire fall, right? You didn't get a single green candle, right? Even through this, it got rejected exactly at my, the ceiling, right? My super trend. So that is why, this super trend is super helpful for you to stay with your trend, especially if you're a big positional player, right? And if you have taken positions at the right time, you won't have the emotions, right? Although it will come very close to your stop loss, but you need to hold on to it, right? Because you did not get a closing above this level. So that is how, bada paisa tab banega when you have the nerve of steel and you can hold on to your things, right? And the way to do that is, to book partial profits and not, for example, you got a very good move, right? You got so many Gann levels, right? And you're not going to trade on the daily, right? You're going to probably go to the 15-minute. So you are going to book the trade and you will also get a reversal trade. And again, you will get a reversal trade and all that. So you can get the money here. You can get the money on this swing. Maybe not that much because it's a small swing, but on a 15-minute, this swing will be magnified. So my recommendation is, you stick to, you master 15 minutes, right? And master the 90-degree Gann levels on the 15-minute time frame. So let me switch back to that. So let me show you that period, right? What was that period? December, right? Let me go back to December. Let's start from the peak, right? So I showed you from the bottom, right? Now let's start from the peak. Let's say, I want to start from here. What is the peak? Peak is here, no? Somewhere here. This is, what is the date? 27th September, right? So 26277. So again, you have to adjust your Gann levels to the high. So you say 26277 यहाँ पे डाल देंगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली एडजस्ट हो जाएगा लेवल्स सारे. अच्छा वो ऊपर कर रहे हैं, अभी आपको नीचे करना पड़ेगा because that is the peak, right? So let's say, and I'm switching off this thing because it will create a lot of confusion with too many things. I'm just switching so that I turn on, just for confirmation. I don't leave it on my charts all the time because I don't need, right? My chart needs to be clean, right? Only when to decide whether to, book profits or not, I use that, right? Sometimes. So see, here, this was the highest level that reached. What I said, you have to wait for, when you are at a peak, you have to wait for minimum 2 levels, which is actually 180 degree because each level is 90 degree. So agar 180 degree price ne turn kiya hai, then that confirms that yes, आपका trend change हो रहा है. So you enter at least maybe in small quantity. When it goes below this one, then maybe you can add one more quantity, right? So maybe use this 180 degree and 270 degree regular to add your positions, right? However many lots you want. And then once you get your 1-2 targets, here you should exit your 50% compulsorily, right? And on third target or fourth target, you can decide whether you want to stay or exit, right? Even if you did not exit, it will be, according to your stop loss system, your stop loss will get triggered here or here anyways, right? So, but here is where, I turn on my this thing, the trend following thing, and I actually want to get a confirmation कि सच में मुझे book करना है कि, should I stay? See here, even it gave an orange candle, and look at the price action that happened here, right? Price went up, formed a doji, and then reversed. So if I had a little bit of patience, I would not have booked my profit, and this is the reason I developed this trend following indicator, because it has not given me a green signal. You're seeing, right? It's a yellow, it's an orange, not a green. Only if
Yes.
it is green, I can go. And you know why it is not green? Because I am still below my CPR. I am still below my CPR. Okay. So that is the beauty. If you combine your Gann level and this thing, this will take care of emotions, and Gann levels will give you the confidence and the levels to trade. Okay. So you are understanding, Sumeji. So if you combine both, you get a more confidence. See, यहाँ पे confidence नहीं आ रहा है ना ये candles देख के. As per this Gann system, you should exit your trade here. है कि नहीं? But when I added this indicator, I got a
Correct.
confirmation that I can hold on, and at least I can partially hold on, because this is orange. Orange means, it may change direction, but it has not confirmed. And look at this, the CPR is so far away. So what I would do smartly is I will position my stop loss here. That's it. Just one level. Because anyway, see, I have earned 2-3 levels, right? And I have anyways booked, my 50% is already booked here, right? Remaining 50% I can wait. Because again, it will stop. Again, I'll have to enter, that is like, just paying for brokerage extra, right? So, but rather, and that is the reason, if you spend time with the chart, if you do the back testing with this multi-indicator system, right? You will develop the confidence and you will be able to stay on to hold on to the trade, especially when you're in profits. You're not losing much, right? Just maybe, on a single lot you hold. And then once again the trend confirms that, red हो गया, then यहाँ से फिर से आप शुरू हो जाइए. You add whatever you sold here, you can add back. But if you had some patience, you would not have lost this much capital, right? This is 244 points, right? So that is where, you have to use a little bit of judgment. And for that judgment call only, I designed this indicator. Otherwise, you don't need all these indicators to trade. You can even switch it off for most of the time. Only when you have a doubt and confusion, you turn it on, you make a decision, move on. समझ में आया कि नहीं आया?
Yes, sir. Sir, this indicator we can use it on commodities also. This trend indicator.
Anything that moves, you can use. Anything that has volatility, you can use this. See, all you need for making a good trade is volatility, right? Use it on crude, natural gas, gold, silver, copper.
Okay.
सब में use कर सकते हो. Even Bitcoin. So only thing is that if you're using Gann levels, you please check your levels with me, because I will help you design the right angles, right? Because depending on the stock price, you'll have to choose the angles and your time frame. So your Gann angles is a function of your stock's price as well as your time frame. Okay. My advice is that you practice on one, you become an expert on one stock, one time frame, minimum 3 to 6 months, you stay with it, because that will develop the mental muscle, right? That is required to be a profitable trader.
Got it.
People think that, it's all in the strategy. It is not the strategy. It is your way of looking at the markets that you have to change. And all this thing I'm trying to do is just to, take care of some emotional aspect or some other technical aspect, right? Nothing else. This is not a holy grail system. This is some combination of some technical indicators. Yes, I have done some research and I have designed this thing based on my study and my research, right? For example, these are not your normal. I mean, if you look at the settings of this indicator, I have not used the standard ones, right? I have used some, very different numbers, a 52, 5.4. You will not find these things anywhere. I designed this
Yes.
myself, right? 144, 7.2. I've used 26 SMA. I've used 225 WMA, right? I've used 999 WMA, right? So they're non-standard, na? Do you see this in the market, right?
No,
Normally
no.
you will see, 20 EMA, SMA, or 20 EMA, 200 EMA, right? Maximum that you will see. But I have done a lot of research. I keep looking at indicators. I study their code, right? I try to understand the psychology, why I design that way. So once I understand the psychology, then I try to tweak these numbers and then I backtest. When I backtest, I kind of keep tweaking it until I feel that yes, this is the right combination. And when I log the combination, I usually change the code and I commit it, right? So that is how I usually design my indicators. And this is one so the other advantage is, since I've combined so many studies into one, even if you don't have, let's say, a paid version of TradingView, you can completely use it, right? Two indicators are allowed. So you use your Gann thing, or, you can add and remove also, right? It is not necessary that, you'll have to use it all the time. Like I said, I only use it when I'm in a state of confusion. Otherwise, जब ऐसे चल रहा है trade, क्यों चाहिए indicator? This is enough. All I need is to trail my profit, right? उसके लिए तो Gann levels काफी है. जहाँ पे
Yes.
confusion आ रहा है, right? यहाँ पे होल्ड करना है कि नहीं करना है, वहां पे मैं ऑन करता हूँ, टू जस्ट गेट ए सेकंड कंफर्मेशन कि भाई ये ट्रेन चालू है कि ये रिवर्सल है. हाउ विल आई नो, राइट? गैन सिस्टम इज नॉट गोइंग टू टेल मी दैट, नो. अकॉर्डिंग टू गैन सिस्टम, it is a exit only, and it is a proper exit only, and you can enter again here or here, है कि नहीं? But see, again, if you waited patiently, see, this is one candle, right? How is the next candle? Is it telling I'm going to go long? No, right? So another technique you can use is just wait for one more candle or two more candles and you will get your answer, whether to exit or not. तो हो सकता है कि आपको एक लेवल देना पड़े, because your stop loss is still here. You will not hold beyond this level, by the way, right? एक लेवल आप compromise कर सकते, not two levels. If you went wrong, you went wrong. But the beauty is that you can actually stop and reverse your trade here, because you know that momentum has strongly changed. बट यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, एक कैंडल ने बोला ठीक है मैं यार भाई ऊपर जाने वाला हूँ, नेक्स्ट कैंडल ने बोला आई एम नॉट श्योर, द थर्ड कैंडल शोड द हैंड. सो इफ यू आर लिटिल बिट पेशेंट, you would not have squared off here. Are you getting me? Because
Yes.
ट्रेंड तो डाउन ही है ना भाई. और मैं swing कर रहा हूँ, I'm not an intraday player, ना. So मुझे करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. What you can do though is on this kind of day, what I usually do is I go to a smaller time frame chart, like a 1 minute, 3 minute, and I will trade this thing up using options. So whatever money I'm losing on futures, I'm making up with options. You're getting my
Oh,
point? So that way I don't lose anything. As a day trader, I make money from options and I use these futures as a holding. So I will always have some futures. I'm either long or I'm short the market. And I use options to hedge.
okay.
Right. See, options are used, that you cannot do on a 15-minute time frame. You have to use it on a less than 5-minute time frame, right? So on this day, if you go, you would have definitely be able to catch, because in options में यहाँ पे level भी छोटा होगा. ये half of these levels will be your options का level. ठीक है? तो 1, 2, 3, 4 target हो गया. तो options में आप 2-3 targets निकाल लोगे daily. So what you do is you use your options for, futures for positional trading, and use the options as a hedge. So even if your position is giving you negative result, and negative result is only for 1 or 2 levels, and if you're in profit, that is not going to matter to you. You can decide how many lots you want to hold, right? For example, you can square off as per the Gann system. Since price reversed one level, you can square off one lot here. If you're holding multiple lots, you can square off one lot here. But again, if you're sure about the trend, then you can hold with confidence. And that is why, this indicator will come in handy. Even this indicator sort of gave a temporary indication ki bhai jaane wala ho. But the next two candles told a different story. This was a fake out. So fake out system is you have to wait for minimum 2 candles, mark the high and low. So what you should do to treat fake outs is you have to mark the high, you have to mark the low. And look what happens, which way the price breaks. Right? So price ने इधर break किया. So you will continue. यहाँ पे आप stop loss place कर देना था on the high of this candle. जहाँ पे भी बने high, वहाँ पे stop loss place करना है. Right? Your stop loss will not have hit that way. So if you follow these little tricks, right, then you can maximize your profits. You don't have to exit too early. यहाँ पे भी आप बच जाते हैं. And that is why I have colored the candles. It is not a green candle. It is an orange candle telling कि भाई I am in doubt. I am not sure. Because my technical indicator is giving different story. Even Gann bhai bol raha hai ki, you should exit. Right? But my CPR is a savior. I am still way below CPR. I have a lot of room. And all I'm doing is, I am taking half a level का risk. मतलब आप ये आधा भी risk ले सकते हो, right? You just place it, halfway between the thing. If you're not sure whether to place here and here, place halfway or just above this candle. ये जो भी breakout candle है उसका take the next two candles, mark the high and low, and you place your stop loss just there. Your stop loss would not have hit, and you would have continued with the trade, and you would have gotten many more levels of profit. So this is how you have to trade. And honestly, if you don't spend time with your chart, right, and the indicators, swing के लिए minimum आपका 1-2 साल का back test करना है, that will develop your mental muscle. और day trading के लिए तो minimum 90 to 100 days. Every day you have to go and back test, right? But आप swing से ही शुरू कीजिए. You start with your swing, and anyways you have my combo indicators suite. I will give you access to this one, right? So this one you have. Now I have explained the system also, so you can start using it. But before you start using it, please complete the back test. That is the most
Fine.
important tool. I think I've shared the format. If you don't have, you please ping me. I'm going to share an Excel sheet, as well as if you want to print out and write it with your pen and pencil, feel free to do that. I have both the formats. I will share. Whoever is interested, please reach out. I will give you the backtesting template completely free. Whether you have my indicators or you have your own, doesn't matter. At least my only suggestion is, no matter what system you're using, whether my system or somebody else's system, please complete the backtest. Right? Don't trust any system until and unless you have completed the backtest, because that is very important to build your mental muscle. Right? Your eye and brain and hand coordination will not work. I mean, it is like driving a car, right? In the beginning, you have to think, no, oh, I have to do this, do that. But trading should be autonomous, right? And the once you complete all these backtests, then only trading can become semi-autonomous, and then you have to practice in the live market for at least another 3 months. Then you will get close to 80% accuracy. People think that there is a holy grail, and tell me what is your accuracy and strategy, as if they don't have any role to play in this whole game, right? People think that the strategy is what makes money. I think otherwise, right? Every strategy makes money if you know how to use it. If you know how to use it well, even a 2 moving average system you can make money. But do you know how to read the chart with that indicator? That is the main thing. Do you know how to fine tune that indicator settings to your thing, right? Not every moving average is going to work for every stock or index, right? Now that is where, it requires time and patience and discipline and, back testing. And back testing, you have to spend hours and hours, right? After the market is done. And only if you do that, right, consistently for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you can come close to being profitable, right? Otherwise, there is no chance. And if you think that, you're going to buy some holy grail system, तब तो everybody would have become Mukesh Ambani by now, right? We would have every day we will be minting, because market is ready to give you money, right? And the question is, have you developed your own mental muscle to understand what the market is telling you? That is more important, right, than anything else. And
Correct.
वो सिखाना ना बहुत मुश्किल है, right? Chart reading कैसे सिखाया जाता है? I mean, I don't know, right? I can give you indicators, I can give you strategies, but pattern recognition chart तो वो तो अपने आप develop करना है, right? And the only way is you have to look at the charts. You have to look at days. I mean, 100 days, 200 days, 300 days, 500 days. The more you will look, the more your eyes will be trained. It's very difficult to explain all of that in English, right? Otherwise तो मैं तो एल्गो लिख देता अभी तक, वो खुद ही ट्रेड करता। ये एल्गो को इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स चार्ट पैटर्न समझाना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, right? That is the problem. The problem is not in the strategy. The problem is in understanding the chart patterns. And chart patterns, unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, there is various theories, right? Elliott wave, Dow, ye wo. So if you at least understand basics of support and resistance and simple retracement concept, that is enough, right? And for those who wants a reliable signal, this your catch the trend indicator is going to do it for you, because it allows you to kind of see again here what happened, right? See, price sort of gave a green signal. Did you see here? But look at this again, it got rejected at the pivot. So even if you went long here, as soon as the price got rejected, you should again short here, right? Or actually short bhi nahi, yahan pe again in a state of confusion. It is between your super trends and this thing. So what I usually do, I actually mark the highest high and the lowest low of that zone, right? So I usually use this as, if I am in a sell trade, I use every opportunity where it rises and then reverts to sell again. So for example, according to this, even according to Gann system, it has moved. Let me show you. Yes, it has moved 90 degrees, right? So technically you should be out, even as per Gann system. है ना? But if you
Yes.
do a little bit of study and understand, you see that the CPR has acted as a resistance. So now all these rules explaining is very, very difficult, right? वो तो आपको visually देखना पड़ेगा. Now when you know that okay, CPR is acting as CPR plus EMA, this combo has acted as a resistance, right? So price is not able to break. Maybe it has partially broken, right? And it is in a state of confusion here. So I will avoid trading until there is maybe clear break above this high or below this, all this consolidation, right? Which is probably happened somewhere here. If you look at the candle color change finally to red, and I would have probably held one, or every time there is a spike like this and rejection, I would probably add some more. Spike and rejection, I will add some more. Finally, when I got the full red colored candle and below all this long consolidation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, जब इतना लंबा कंसोलिडेशन की बाहर जाते हैं प्राइस, right, either here or at my Gann level, here is where I would add more quantity, right? And then first target again according to Gann system will tell you to book your stop loss here, right? But if you use this system, you should still hold on to here, because see again price is actually opening and then reversing, right? So these are all tricks that the big players play, right, to get the retailers out, right? But if you have the nerve of steel, you can still hold on, right, with the system that I explained, right? So all you have to do on this kind of fake candles is mark the high and low and see what is happening. If this high is not taken out and you are short, you are still safe. You can place your stop loss a few points above the high. And if you did that, you would have been saved, right? And you could have continued the fall, right? You would have at least gotten another 3 targets. So, the major mastery that you have to achieve is during these zones of consolidation, because this is where most retailers get lost. And unfortunately, there is no system in the world that will give you clean signals in all of this khichdi. You have to train your eye to look at these things in a way that is very difficult to express it also in as rules and language, right? Otherwise, तो सबने technical indicator बना दिया होता, right? If I could have expressed all these rules as language, that is not possible, right? ये pattern recognition maybe only through machine learning and all that systems you can do, but even then there is so many, it can be countless variations of patterns. It is not possible only for the machine to learn such things, right? वो अकेला human eye ही कर सकता है and human brain ही कर सकता है. There is no other alternative, unfortunately, right? So you will have to spend time with your chart. आपको चार्ट से दोस्ती करना होगा. आपको पता होना चाहिए जब ऐसे गैप अप ओपनिंग होता है, most of the time it is a fake, and it is actually a sign of an exhaustion and then a reversal. Most often you will see that, right? Even the most recent fall, क्या हुआ था? If you look at the 7th of April wala story, right? And just कहाँ पे 7th April. Let me show you. So even look here. This was although the ending candle, but I was thinking this is a fast candle. But look at this. Price will do like this and then they will take it up. And that will often become the lowest low of that thing. Again, they will try to create a fake out. Again, they will take it up, right? So this is how, they fake out the retailers, right? Most of the time. So if you train yourself to, have a little bit patience, you will be able to come out of those phases, right? These are the phases that are confusing, right? So it keeps changing between orange and red, orange and red. तो वहां पे आपको सिर्फ विजुअलाइज करना है क्या हो रहा है प्राइस एक्शन, राइट? व्हाट इज माय मेजर ट्रेंड, and what is the price trying to do with respect to the major trend, and what are my technical indicators telling me, right? So as long as the price is holding my below my support and I'm in a downtrend, I can still hold, right? Even if I am in orange color, I can still hold, right? I will only have gone long when the price reaches above these levels, right? Or above the next Gann level, something like that, right? Maybe here above this pivot. And when the pivot becomes lower and then still price is holding, but then see now the super trend is acting as a resistance. So I think your mastery needs to be around these levels. क्योंकि जब trending होता है तब तो पैसा बनाना easy है. People lose money in this kind of market conditions, right? And that is the reason you have to backtest and you have to understand how can I stay with the trend for as long as I can, right? I tried to code an indicator to help, but that is not going to help unless you go and complete your backtest, right? Because there will be these zones of confusion where candles will be colored, either orange and green or orange and red, right? If you're in the bottom, it will be like orange and red. If you're at the top, it will be green and orange, like that. But if you can, also you have to look at it in the context, मतलब कितना बड़ा move हो चुका है, right? If you have already gotten 7-8 levels, then आराम से आप profit book कर लो and then wait for some trend to emerge, then only enter, right? ये confusion में trade ही मत करो, है ना?
Correct.
ये confusion में क्यों जरूरत है trade करने का? आप intraday में करो, छोटा छोटा profit बनाओ. Now once the trend emerges, or you look for important astro dates, and then if you get a trend in the direction and trend change हुआ astro date में, then you continue. Because ideally, you mark the Gann levels, let's say between these three, you know that, okay, this is a zone of confusion or zone of consolidation. My trend, I am bearish. Now this is a zone of consolidation and it will continue for many days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 11 days I've seen, 10, 11 days, right? तो तब फिर क्या हुआ यहाँ पे यहाँ पे ओपन हुआ, एक टारगेट दिया, फिर जाके रिवर्स कर दिया. तो ऐसे ही करेगा. बट सी हियर इज योर क्लियर सिग्नल. दिस इज अगेन द the Jan low. तो यहाँ पे आपको क्योंकि pivot का breakout मिला, पूरा super trend का भी breakout मिला, and all these EMAs above, right? Here you could have added some, here you could have added some, and then once it takes out this Gann level, you could have added some, right? And then it went up again, it gave this fake out. So here is where you have to have some nerve of steel to hold on, right? Because my indicator has still not given flashed a sell, right? See, it flashed a sell, but just for one candle. And this is where again you have to apply that concept. You mark the high, you mark the low, and wait for a proper candle closure below this. If not, you stay long. In fact, you should use this condition to add more lots with this chota sa stop loss. Whatever you're adding, that also stop loss is there. Whatever you're writing, that also stop loss is there. So if you do these little tricks, right, you will be able to become mentally much stronger, right? Because they will do all these tricks, to get you out of the trade, right? And no system can save you until and unless you train your mind on your particular stop and knowing, what is your level of tolerance with respect to stop loss. अगर नहीं है तो छोटा quantity में रहिए, right? You exit some and then you add back here, right? On these fake outs, and then again you continue like that. See, most of the time you should get 2 to 3 targets. वो बहुत easy है capture करना with your Gann levels. And when you have this system in working in addition to your Gann levels, you will be able to write better. For example, देखो यहाँ पे peak हुआ, right? So obviously you would have being kicked out here somewhere, right? In this range, right? But will you short here? यहाँ पे एक सिग्नल मिला छोटा सा, right? But again it is a zone of confusion. यहाँ पे clear cut सिग्नल मिला है यहाँ जाके, right? Because I think your CPR was where? CPR का CPR was here. देखो, another thing is you have to understand when CPR becomes very very narrow, thin. देख रहे हैं कितना thin है? Now
Yes.
that is an indication of trending market. देखो यहाँ से शुरू हुआ, जब CPR से रिजेक्ट हो गया, ये मूव देखो, खतरनाक मूव, right? And these are the moves you should try to capture. Always observe when your price reaches your levels of CPR, and especially when your CPR and this 200 moving average, or your CPR and this line, right? When they converge together, and then you get a move, right? From there, those are your best trades. And these things you will be able to understand only when you spend time with your charts, right? It is very difficult to write all these rules and give it to you. Even if I give it to you, you will not be able to understand, right? Because they are just language. But when your eyes will see it, and they will be able to decode it much better and much faster, right? Because human intelligence is still better than machine intelligence, right? Despite all the technological advancement we have made. Yes, language ne mastery kar liya hai. But in terms of pattern recognition, especially with trading, I don't think it is automatable yet, right? Human beings are still superior when it comes to trading. ठीक है, तो देखो यहाँ पे रिजेक्शन हुआ, कहाँ पे CPR लेवल छोटा हो गया था, and these are your best moves, right? And here also you can add, there is a Gann level and it is breaking below this important EMA. This is a long term EMA break, remember, right? ये जो पिंक लाइन है ना, इसके नीचे जब प्राइस जाता है, right, especially after it gets rejected at a higher level above, right, you should definitely add more quantity here. And if you did that, your 1 target, 2 target, 3 target आपको easily मिल जाएगा, कभी कभी 5, 6, 7, 8 target भी मिल जाता है, right? And then once you get a sharp reversal, you should always book some profits here. I mean, yes. And then this is where you should ideally look to exit, and then you should switch on this indicator and see what is happening. Again, this has become a zone of confusion, right? Orange. So you should basically mark the high, mark the low, and then wait for price action, right? I would have gone long only above this level, right? Somewhere here, I could have gone long, right? But वो नहीं हुआ, price फिर से reject हुआ, then I would have maybe shorted in small quantity once the rejection happened here, or maybe once the breakdown below the Gann level here, I would have again shorted here, right? And then I would have again gotten 2 levels like that, right? Finally, it will get into these phases, right? I think in May also you will see this kind of price action, right? So be ready for that, because already, if you did not trade in April, you missed a lot of opportunity to catch the trend. So it may so happen that may will be little bit of sideways to consolidation, and the CPR will also tell you. I will show you once the May CPR is formed that it will be a very wide CPR, right, on the daily time frame, which means that big players might just play the consolidation game, and it will be good for the option sellers, right, who wants to just make a monthly income, right, by selling options.
Okay.
तो थोड़ा सा आप गैन के साथ पैटर्न रिकॉग्निशन एंड if you want to add astro, that will be even better. I have not spoken about astro anywhere in this session, but if you mark those important dates, right, and you should just simply mark the 30 minutes high and low, and then watch the price action, and if you see a specific trend emerging, right, especially if there is a clean signal, right, candles red हो रहा है या green हो रहा है, those are the time to trade. Usually it happens in the first half an hour only, right? All these trends emerges in the first half an hour on an important astro date. So you should always, make yourself available on your screen on those important dates if you want to add an astro edge. And I will go deep, right? Since you are in my master class, I'm going to cover those concepts there. How you can follow the cycles of important planets. Sun though is important, but other than that, we'll cover Mercury is also very important for Nifty, right? And then for Jupiter, Jupiter, Venus for Bank Nifty. So we can cover maybe, a couple of stocks and, a few planets, right? I will tell you how to find these cycles and what are the important dates to observe, right? So that I'll cover. But even if you're not doing astro, you can easily make money. Even if you're not using my, this indicator, you can still make money. It is just that your stop losses will hit a little bit more. That's all. Because as per the Gann, it is a very mechanical system, right? I mean, it tells you that, if price moves 90-degree up, right, then your stop loss gets hit, right? But when it gets into this zone of confusion, right, you should sort of, mark the high and low of that zone and go one level above and one level below it, right? As your effective kind of thing, right? Otherwise, if you let's say initiate your short here and then every time your stop loss will get and दो तीन आपका unnecessary stop loss hit होगा. And that is the reason I designed this trend following system where you can actually understand, right, in the context of this big picture, I am still in a downtrend, right? So I should definitely look for long when I get a clean signal, right? My EMAs are above, all these are acting as resistances, right? So why should I go short? I mean, why should I go long here at all? Even if my Gann system is telling me that यहाँ पे stop loss book करो, I'll maybe book partial profit. I mean, partial profits मैं book कर लूँगा. But will I book everything? No. I will still hold on, right? Because I see there's a lot of resistances overhead on my shoulders, so I will definitely not feel confident of getting long unless price sort of converges and the CPR के ऊपर जाता है and all of it breaks above all of this consolidation and all of these super trends, right? And at least above the red or this line, then only I will feel comfortable to do long. All these technical indicators are giving me the confidence that trend is still intact, right? And these are all higher time frame indicators, please mind you, right? These are not designed for the same chart time frame, and that is why they work for swing trading. These are all designed in such a way that it actually is adapts to a higher time frame, right? And that is why it works. Okay. If I use the standard EMA and all, then this would have not have worked, right? So I have actually adjusted it to make it work on a higher time. I have not used a 9 EMA and all that, right? I have not used. And this blue line is just, nothing. It is just, it will hug the price and keep moving, right? Your strongest trends, always, the price will be on one side of the blue line, right? When it gets into the confusion, it will move above and below the blue line. That is also one indication to tell you that, yes, we are in a consolidation phase. And usually, it may last between 2 to 3 Gann levels, which is, about 90, 90, 90, about 270 degrees. So you will have to have the confidence to deal with such level of volatility if you want to make money, right? And I already told you how to do that. Use this futures as a holding position and use this, intraday, options to sort of recover the money you are losing on futures. That way you will be able to hold on with confidence. Maybe you can reduce the quantity, right? And use these options intraday to make up for the loss. But then for that, you will have to be active day trader as well. है ना? तो आप अगर एक्टिव हो सकते हैं, then you will not make a loss at all, because intraday में आप ये सब scalp कर सकते हैं, and and you are with the trend. So one system is helping you be with the trend, another system is with options you can hedge your position. So if you do the combination of both, then you can make a huge amount of money. Huge amount of money. Even if you use this system, you can easily make 8 to 10 lakhs a year, right? Per lot of Nifty. I would say 8 to 12 is a range, right? So maybe 10 lakhs is an average you can make per lot, right? But then you have to, backtest. You have to find the numbers yourself, right? तो backtest कीजिए, आपको पता चल जाएगा खुद ही खुद. See, if you can get through these zones of confusion, that is how you will be able to win more, right? Now, how do you do that? That is a very difficult question to answer, right? I can give you 1,000 indicators also, but unless and until you go and make yourself friend of these indicators and understand, what these indicators are trying to tell you, right? How should I use them for my trend following? See, the orange is telling you that I am not sure, because some of the indicators are telling me I'm long, some of the indicators are telling me I'm short, and hence I'm not sure. So when I'm not sure, when in doubt, I'll stay with the trend in small quantity. What I'll do is simply, if I'm double the quantity here, I would have booked some profit here, and I will hold on at least one quantity I will keep around, and I will keep it at a safe distance. Maybe I'll keep it here or here, whatever, right? At a safe, relatively safe distance, right? If price reverse from here, then I can even keep my stop loss here. And then again, once it goes back this level, I can add here. I can add here. I can add here, right? So as long as my trend is telling me by, this thing, you can add here, you can add here, you can add here, you can add here, you can keep adding, you can build up, because these are your accumulation and distribution zones. And that will usually last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've seen it last for 10 days also. And this is where, traders either lose patience or lose money or both. This sideways market is what kills most retailers.
Correct.
है ना? ट्रेडिंग मार्केट में तो कोई भी पैसा बना सकता है. Any indicator will give you money. But how do you, sort of save yourself on those confusing phases is what's going to differentiate you and a profitable trader. And the only solution is for that, you have to backtest, you have to understand the pattern of such moves. Kitna moves hota hai, one level hota hai, two levels hota hai. So then, I already told you how you should deal with such things. Always try to stay with your trend. Major trend kya hai? And this system is telling you what is your major trend, right? According to the color of the candles. So your major trend is red. When it becomes orange, don't be scared. I mean, book partial profit and always use this. It's like a sell on rise. What does it mean? Whenever it rises and then falls, you should sell again, right? Whenever it rises and falls, you should sell again, like that. So use every opportunity in a selling market. Every rise should be an opportunity to sell again. As long as all my indicators is not giving me a confirmation I should go long, I will stay with my shop. And that is how you can make big money, right? If you're going to, go long here, again go short here, that is only you are going to pay brokerage and you are going to lose unnecessary money, which is not required. You need to develop the patience and the aptitude to stay with your trade, hold your trade. And I also told you how you can recover the loss. Let the futures run, use options to recover the loss. That is very much possible as a day trader. And I already taught you systems, right? I mean, you can use even this Gann system only to do that, right? But you have to go to a lower time frame. So divide the chart into two parts, right? One on the 15-minute, keep it on your right, and switch to like I usually use 2-3 time frames, right? So like that you should use. You keep your 15-minute and hourly on the side, and then you switch this to 3 minutes, and use the 3-minute system to do your short-term scalping. So to recover the losses that you might be making from your holding position. Otherwise, if you're not confident, if you don't have capital, you can square off and you can re-enter, but you will pay more brokerage, you may hit few more stop losses, etc. It will eat into some profitability. So the best is, let your trades run, right? Even when it is in an orange zone, and use this intraday to recover some of that loss. So that is what you should try to do, right? So if you can use this multiple time frames to your advantage, then only you can become an A-class trader, right? So, and like I said, this indicator works on all time frame, right? So you just have to switch the time frame. But yes, the Gann system, when you switch to a 3-minute thing, 90 degrees will not work. You have to switch to 45 minutes, 45 degrees, right? That is only change you need. So as soon as you do that, and you can have 90 degrees here, you can have 45 degrees here. That is completely fine. And using that Gann system also, you can trade, right? So you switch off this. Now this one, you just leave it in the default settings. And for day trading, the default setting is good enough. You just need to draw the levels on both sides. And yes, that's perfect. So that's it. See, and usually, when this gap up happens, right? All you simply need to do is mark the high, mark the low. That's it, right? Once it breaks, usually you remember that most gap ups and gap downs is just a for trend change only, right? So it will take a top and then it will bring it down, right? So you should go short here. You would have gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 is enough. So चार target मिल गया, आप आराम से अपने profit कमा लिया. So whatever you may, let's say, anyways, this is on the short side, right? And your trade is also short. But let's say you are on the long side, right? For some reason. So you could have used this intraday to recover some of that loss. So your net loss will be reduced, na? Are you following me, Sumit?
Yes, yes.
So use options to hedge your long positions. Okay, that is the most effective strategy. You have to trade on multiple time frames, especially if you practice the 3-minute and the 15-minute, right? That is more than enough. That is more than enough. समझ में आया?
Yes, yes.
बताइए और क्या क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं?
नहीं अभी और कुछ नहीं है सर. फर्स्ट आई विल ट्राई टू यूज दिस indicator, then I'll get back to you on this.
So see, the only solution and my only request to all of you, right? Whoever has my indicator or are considering to have my indicator, is please find the time to backtest, spend some time with your chart, with the indicators, right? And note down your questions, whatever is happening, right? Please come to a session and ask questions. I'll be the most happiest person, right? The worst part is that, I come to a session and I keep talking myself and I don't get any, questions coming. And that is when I know that you are not doing anything. You're just coming to the session, attending and not doing any homework, right? But until and unless you are doing the homework, trust me, you will not be able to master this, because trading is a complex thing, right? It is not just about strategy and indicators. People keep hunting for indicators, that is like a treasure hunt, and that will be never ending, right? You have to stick to one and become a master at it. Then आपको सब कुछ पता चल जाएगा. You will understand that more or less every indicator is saying the same thing. It is just the way you look at it that has to change, right? And that is only possible when you start spending a lot of time with your chart. And that is why I recommend one chart, right? One time frame, thing, and maximum to, like I explained, 2 time frames, because, if you have the time to do day trading, otherwise, if you're not confident, you square out and you wait for a trend to emerge and then you again re-enter the trade. So 2 ways, right? If you are an active trader, then you remain on the position because you have time to monitor, and you use options to recover some of the losses that you may be incurring on your positional trade, right? So that way your net loss would be nominal. Okay. But if you cannot do that because of your work schedule, whenever you have gotten 3 levels targets, square off. Then wait for a clear signal again when the trend emerges strongly. You have green candles forming, red candles forming, and you know that the price action is not, volatile. Then you enter again and ride again three levels. Again you wait. In a month, no, if you can capture 2 such trades, right, that is more than enough for you. अब 2 लॉट में ट्रेड कर लीजिए,
Okay.
2 लॉट में ट्रेड कर लीजिए, right? And 1 lot you book, or basically if you can trade with 3 lots, then you do 1 to 3, right? 1 target, 1 lot book, 2 targets done, 2 lots book, 3 targets done, you completely square up. That is more like, I don't have time, मुझे बैठना है, I have to get 3 targets, I'm done. That's it. That is
Fine.
one type of trading. वो भी कर सकते हैं. But if you really want to ride, 8-10 target अगर जाना है, see, you will not get it. First of all, you will not get it every month. Second of all, market will throw surprise at you. You cannot predict कब ये move आने वाला है. That is very difficult. We all always know when the move has happened, right? Not before. So the only way to capture the move is you have to hold. If you are in the trade, you have to hold minimum one quantity. Then only you will be able to capture the move. There will be, situations the market will throw at you where you will feel like you should exit and run. But if you have
Okay.
made enough money, you can hold now. You can give up a little bit of your profits for getting more returns. There is a risk reward, right? One more Gann level is all you need, perhaps. That's all. 144 points. So if you have that little bit of risk appetite, you can hold. And that is the only reason I have sort of designed this indicator to help you, take care of some of your emotional aspects. I hope, people find it useful. So, Sumitji, on that note, unless you have any other questions, I would like to call it a day.
Yes, sir. Because even I also have to go in the morning, early morning.
चलिए,
Thank you,
so
sir.
thanks so much for attending,
And
and I hope you find the time to do the proper backtesting, right? And please
yes, yes.
reach out to me if you have any questions that comes up, right? Props up during your testing.
Done,
Do reach out to me.
done, done, sir.
चलिए, bye bye. Good night.
Good night, sir.